Exactly.
Good evening. Welcome along to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of the Sunday Bunch. Joining us in the studio, we have the superb Mad Mistake. Thanks for joining us.
No problem whatsoever. No problem whatsoever. I'm feeling a little bit blue today, as you can see.
What have you been up to? Have you been running?
I've been running down Marsden Rock, popped into the, I forget what it's called now, with some fish and chips.
The Bay
fish and chips was absolutely lovely. 9 out of 10 for fish and chips there. So yeah, it's been a very enterprising day, if that's a word to use.
We are also joined by Jack Dodds, superstar. Jack, what's your day been like?
It's been all right, Phil. Did a little bit of shopping, not much else really.
Shopping?
Oh.
Shopping?
Food shopping. Oh.
All right.
I didn't mean clothes shopping.
That sounds very grown up for you, Jack.
Right, okay.
Well, I like me food, as Phil likes to point out,
do. I will.
increasingly.
Speaking of grown-ups, we've been joined also by the superb Michael Bowers on there. And Michael, how's your day been?
All right. Had a nice good walk. It was very therapeutic.
It is a walk, yes. Right, okay. Don't forget, of course, we are live, which means you can join us via the live chat. If you've got anything to say, do it on there. We'll give a shout out to the people already on. David Walker there. Las Palmas Mackham is normally first. He's second. He's come second like I normally do. Mick Griffiths on there. Stephen Hensel, friend of the show, says he's doing the ironing, watching you lads tonight. Don't worry. Be happy. We're going to finish 5th. I think Stephen's going to, or Dino, create a beer as well, because he said we were going to work. Was you want to say something?
I just want to say to Stephen Hensel, your dad won the beer competition, so I need to get in touch with him and see if either he wants the 3 or the 1. He gets the first choice. So well done, John Hensel.
There you go. If you don't know what Terry's on about, check out his channel, and it'll all be
self-explanatory
on there. Jake
just Parkinson, to warn you, there's swearing on there, though.
Yes, bit potty mouth, but very good as well. Jake Parkinson on there, Alan Robinson, Darren Robinson as well.
All the Robinsons.
Something like, yes, lots to drink. And also Peter Solkeld, and our friend of the show, Emma Hansen, who loves the waffles down in Lincoln. So yesterday, all right, I went down to Lincoln City, and Jack and Michael went down. Me and Terry, being on our pension, couldn't afford it. Lincoln City 0, Sunderland 0. We'll start with you on the end, Michael. Your thoughts on it overall?
It was like the sequel to the Charlton game. We should have won the game. We had the chances to win the game. We had Jack Clark alone had 3 efforts, which just went wide of the post almost every time. The third one, especially when he's played through onto the left-hand side of the 6-yard box and he somehow doesn't put it on target, is ridiculous. Jermaine Defoe, I know me and Jack were talking about it. Jack felt Defoe could have done better with the effort he had. He had a shot that went just wide. Evans hit the post. Ross Stewart somehow had a header kept out in stoppage time. I think is it Wright, their goalkeeper? I can't remember what his first name is. Not Bailey though. But we had more than enough chances. Yeah, there's one of my own funny jokes again.
Yeah. But there'll be plenty of them.
There will.
Over the next 56 minutes and 10 seconds.
I'll try and spare everyone and keep them down to a minimum.
Yeah, that's always good.
But regardless, we had the chances to win the game. I didn't think Lincoln, I haven't been impressed with Lincoln either time we played them. Even when they beat us up here, I thought they were pretty poor. We were just worse. Whereas down there, we easily had enough to win the game. Lincoln, I think, probably had 1 half chance. Not to be fair, I think it was Marquez. I can't remember who it was. Forced Patterson to a very good save late on. But that aside, I can't remember them doing any much. But I think that's down to the fact we were very solid defensively. I think that the setup was right. I think we did pretty much. It's a typical thing. We did everything right, just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. But the Sheffield Wednesday and Wickham results sort of eased it a little bit. But you could also say it's a missed opportunity to go further clear of them when Sheff Wed have a game in hand next week, pretty much, because we don't play.
Right, fair enough. Just very quickly on the chat, Ruffers about just says, evening lads. Nigel Dunn, friend of the show, says Mick Bowers for president.
Any relation to you, Mick Bowers?
I have no idea who he's on about. No, it certainly can't be me because I'm nowhere near competent enough.
No, Mick. That's all the girls. The girls call you, Mick.
No comment.
Is Mick in? Can I speak to Mick?
Mickey Mouse, maybe.
DJ
That's what that is, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. DJ Sizzler Watson on there as well. And Nigel Dunn also says Terry beer, women, football, Terry show in a nutshell down there. 2 points dropped against is David Walker. Terry, overall thoughts on the game yesterday?
Very disappointed indeed. I feel exactly the same way. 2 points dropped. It's just like every single time other teams drop points, we do exactly the same. It's just not good enough for me. We had ample opportunities to score yesterday. We seem to have gone the complete opposite of what Lee Johnson did. We let goals in for fun, but we scored goals for fun. Now we keep clean sheets, and now we can't score goals. We've got to find somewhere in the middle. We had plenty of chances yesterday. We had Clark, who had 3 or 4 opportunities, and he's kept putting them wide all the time. And and we had Defoe had a good chance, and Stewart had a couple of good chances, I think. But overall, Lincoln will be happy with the point. They started off very good in the first 3 or 4 minutes with a lot of intention and a lot of passion. But we come into the game well. In our high press, we pressed well. We just, we've only got one up front. To be fair, with Stewart, did we play 6 in midfield? Was it 3-6-1? Was it 3-5-2? I mean, Roberts is not a striker. Wouldn't it have been better to have maybe Defoe up front? But again, it's 2 points dropped, and I'm disillusioned. I feel for me, I'm just going to admit now to myself that the season's over. I'm not going to think about playoffs at all now. I'm going to just say, right, another season in League One's coming up, and if the team can prove me wrong, I'll be absolutely over the moon.
Is that because you think that's what's genuinely going to happen, or is that just to make yourself feel better regardless of the results?
I just constantly feel I've been let down week in, week out. As soon as someone drops points, we drop points as well, and it's happened all season. So why should it change with 7 games to go? Sheffield Wednesday, a big match next weekend. If they get 3 points next weekend, or even get a point, whatever it is, and we drop out of the top 6, then it's up to us to find a way to get back into the top 6. So with us being let down that much now, in my mind, now that's it, season's over. I'm just going to hope the team can give us a shock.
Or Sheffield Wednesday could get beat, and could look on the positive side of things. And but we're going to go into that anyway a little bit later on. So just very quickly, back to the chat then there. David K says, evening, 2 pens we should have had. We will get onto that as well. Doug B need one more win than Oxford to make the playoffs. Stephen Winship
might come against them.
Says, stop kidding ourselves. We're just not good enough. Very weak. Soft underbelly. That's what Colin's got, isn't it? You was playing with that one earlier. No presence in midfield. No bally, etc. Flattered to deceive. Tony Leon there says, all right, Monkey, 2 of the V's, and Terence. I don't know what this thing is with all the V's. You went down anyway, Jack.
Yes.
Overall thoughts?
Missed opportunity, really. Terry touched on there. A few teams around us had.
Terry touched too.
He touched on the fact that many teams around us had dropped points. I think there was a few draws in there. I think one of them might have got beat as well. And yesterday was the perfect opportunity. I think they gained some points while other teams were dropping them. I mean, Michael mentioned the amount of chances there. I can remember Evans hitting the post. He had another one that was saved. Stewart forced an amazing header from that keeper towards the end. I felt as if the force should have done better with his opportunity. Clark hit the post. He put a couple from cutting in from the left-hand side on his right foot wide. There's probably others in there that I forgot. Even if you just go watch the 2
Evans, was it Evans?
Yeah, Evans hit the post and had a volley as well. Even if you literally go and watch the highlight package, the 2-minute highlight package that the club put together, you can see the amount of opportunities we had in that game. I feel like it's one of them games that we might look back on at the end of the season if we miss out by a point or two and go, that's one of the games that cost us. I would package that in there with the likes of Shrewsbury away, Fleetwood away, etc. Yeah, a real missed opportunity. I thought the performance was actually a lot better. I thought we played okay, better than it has been in recent weeks anyway. Moved the ball a little better, and like I say, we did actually manage to create loads of chances, which has been the thing we've struggled to do the most the last few games, especially against Crewe and Fleetwood. But like I say, you create that many opportunities in a game, you come away with a point. Not even converting one of them, and like I say, I think that'll come to cost us.
Do you know what?
Could come to cost us coming out of the season.
It's always one extreme or the other. We either play
exactly.
We either play not very good and win, or we play very well and draw.
I was going to say actually, it seems like with Alex Snell, with Lee Johnson, I feel is if we played well, we won. If we played badly, we got beat. With Alex Snell, it seems to be the way around. Far, it's like the worse we play, we tend to get better results.
So basically, what we're saying is we need to play rubbish every game, and then we'll be in the playoffs.
Maybe if it gets us out of this league, I'll take it.
Right, okay. Just very quickly on the chat. Daniel Gunn says, evening lads, Terry the Mad Mistake, what an entertaining match review last night on your channel. Pure passion from a great Sunderland fan. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Yes, we do. were just saying before we came on, fantastic. For me, one of the best reviews Terry's done. He's got lots of videos on there. We will warn you, there is lots of swearing in that. But to be honest, it's all in context. It's pure passion, like Daniel says. Check that out on Terry's channel. His review after yesterday's game. It's a good one. So all right. So we've, like we said, we were shipping goals under Lee Johnson. Now we've managed to. I mean, Bowers on the end, so excited because all he goes on about is his clean sheets all the time.
You're looking a bit too intently.
We're getting the clean sheets. Were we not just unlucky yesterday? You know, I think for me, I think if we did that 9 times out of 10, we'd be banging them in. And
not necessarily though, because exact same happened against Charlton.
Right. Well.
Okay, 8 times out of 10.
Then. Well, let's go with you then, Jack. Well, were we not just unlucky?
I mean, maybe look, players a small factor into. You could argue on another day. Evans' shot, for example, hit the post, goes in. Maybe there's a few Clark's might creep in. You know, you could argue one of the opportunities would have went our way, but not necessarily. I think it was just not being clinical enough, really. And in games that have been quite clinical recently, against Crewe and Fleetwood, where we've waited all game to get an opportunity, and then we've taken it when it's came to us. All of a sudden, you have a game where, you know, we've got loads of chances to score a goal, and we squander every single one of them. So I maybe you could argue on another day one of them would have went in, but
so you're saying not unlucky for you then?
No,
right.
you cannot have that many opportunities in a game, squander them, and say we were just unlucky.
Right. Okay. Just very quickly back to the chat. Black Cat Podcast. There is Carl, our friend down there, says evening, Nigel. Is that another one of your pseudonyms?
Yes.
Is it all right? I just wondered who Nigel was. That's all. KTM says we will win the playoffs. Mark my word, is what he says down there. Tony Lee saying Clark must be played on the right wing.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, I don't always get that.
Well,
you know.
I think he doesn't look comfortable on his left foot. When he's on the left-hand side, he's got to cut.
Yeah, well, I know why it is. So he can have a shot. He's got in and he can have a shot.
Yeah,
that's fine. But for me, if you're out wide, you're there to put the cross in, not to necessarily.
Yeah, but so if you put him on the right-hand side, and he's right-footed,
then he can get the cross in.
Sure, he could have put a cross in. So
couldn't you just have like Clark and Roberts interchanging, like one on either side, one on the other? Because surely I think they're our 2 best wingers for me.
Well, I fancy Roberts especially, but I think the 2 of them did have quite a free roaming role yesterday. That's why I think Roberts played so well, because he wasn't restricted to doing anything.
Roberts tortured that defense.
I think he was our man of the match, to be honest.
I agree.
BF, I've got that question coming up.
Sorry.
Are we going too far ahead of ourselves again?
You are.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So you were saying
we're going that far ahead of ourselves.
Well, we'll try and get to what we'll do. We'll do. We've only got an hour, so if we can shoot you to what we can get Terry in. Were we just unlucky yesterday?
No such thing as being unlucky. For me, it's human error. Simple as human error. You know, they took the shots. They decided to put the ball in.
Yeah, but they didn't choose to put the ball wide.
Exactly, so it's human error. It's their lack of ability, their lack of skill, their lack of judgment. What is that to do with luck? It's their lack of the skill, it's pure lack of whatever they're lacking. Not good enough. Simple as, just not good enough. A good enough player will put a shot on target. Then it's down to the keeper to make the save. We couldn't hit the target apart from maybe once on target the whole of the 90 minutes from Stewart. That's pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic, and we deserve what we get. Simple as.
Right, Daniel Gunn says the season can't be over for me. We're still in the playoffs.
Agreed.
Bob Bass says we'll meet Rotherham in the playoffs, beat them, and then beat Sheffield Wednesday at Wembley. I love the confidence. Gerard Tom says we're doomed. Cursed, apparently. So, Michael, were we just unlucky yesterday?
Yes. I don't think you can. Well, to an extent, yeah. Obviously, I know that. I think Steve Flounder said you can't be missing that many on chances. Yeah. Okay. To a degree, it was unlucky, but obviously, it was a combination of luck not being on our side and also incredibly poor finishing. And I know Terry's point about the shot on target, but what I think we're overlooking is that at least 3 of the efforts only literally just went past the post, and 1 inch like slightly the other way, it's on target at least and possibly goes in. It's just one, and we say we deserve what we get. I don't think Lincoln deserved the point. I can't remember again, apart from one save Patterson had to make, they didn't do anything. All game they did barely anything. That's obviously, look, who's going to be happy with the point? Them, of course, because they know that we should have won the game. It's again, it is similar to the Charlton game.
I mean, not necessarily, because we had that many opportunities and we didn't get them. So
well, exactly, but I mean, at the same time, I feel that we didn't take them. If I was a Lincoln, I mean, even there's a few Lincoln fans said to me that they got away with one. They felt they didn't deserve anything from the game. So if that becomes a regular thing, which we'll have to wait and see, but then it is a concern. I think, put it this way, if we play like that, like we did yesterday against Gillingham, I'd be very surprised if we didn't beat them. But that's obviously 2 weeks away. We can't affect anything until then.
And I've been making similar arguments for a while, but I feel like I'm getting sick of saying if we play that way against such and such team, we'll get a result. Because what I say with Sunderland is there'll be a lot of positives to take from one game. If you take them into another, you will get a positive result. But we'll get to that game and we'll stop doing those good things right, and we'll bring other bad habits into it. And then we'll say, if we can get better for this game, we should do better, and then we won't.
Well, the thing is, at the minute, I strongly disagree with the whole the season's over thing. How can it be over when we're in the playoffs? If we were where Bolton were, when you're like 8-9 points off the playoffs, I agree. Then season's done. But for me, I just don't get it. I don't get how if the season's done, then there's no point in getting up for the last 7 games at all.
Like it's people mentally preparing themselves for us.
I do get that to a point.
Can we?
Our class look, right, is you walk into the co-op, you ask for a lucky.
Where are you going with this?
You ask for a lucky dip on the lottery and you win. For me, that's luck, right? Luck in football terms, you take a shot, the keeper saves it, it hits the crossbar, diagonally come back, hit the keeper in the back of the head, and goes back of the net. Well, that's lucky. If a player misses a shot, puts it wide, that's down to skill. That's down to his ability to put the ball on target. They weren't good enough to do it yesterday. They weren't good enough. We're good enough one time in 90 minutes to put a shot on target. That is absolutely pathetic.
So what happens if the shot is going wide and a gust of wind comes and blows it? Then
if it's a calm day and then there's like a hurricane comes onto the pitch, and that's luck, isn't it? Because that obviously
you can have luck, man. You can be unlucky. We was unlucky yesterday.
No such thing as unlucky when you're football.
Right, just very quick. Can I get back to the chat?
Go on then, Phil. Get back to the chat then.
Unless you got something really interesting to say.
Well, nothing that I say is really interesting. So
right, moving on swiftly then. Emma Hansen on the chat says we're not getting playoffs. Mad Mackham says, hey Terry, those fish and chips look champion today. Soaked up all yesterday's lager. And David Wallace says, agree, Emma. I think we are missing out, sadly. Tony Lee, a good point. Bowersy, get Clark and Roberts to switch wings. David K says 7th. We are finishing. So let's go on to that then. We'll start with you, Michael. On the end, is our season over?
No, far from it. We've got 4 home games left out with 7, and people can, whatever people's opinions, they're entitled to them. Of course, I can kind of get why a lot of people feel like they're resigning themselves to another season in League One because we've been let down that many times. But I just think when we say Sheff Wed's got a game in hand, but as I keep saying, the narrative can't be different for other teams as it is to us. They've got to win it. They had a game in hand last week, didn't win. So what's to say that? How do we know that they're going to always automatically win all their games? What is it about that every team around us that makes us think they're going to win all their games? It's League One. It's exactly the same. As we've dropped points, they're going to exactly the same. People are overlooking the fact that Wickham drew 0-0 at Portsmouth yesterday. They apparently were dominant. They didn't win the game. We're not saying Wickham's season's over. Sheffield Wednesday got a point at Gillingham, which I think, as much as I don't particularly rate Lincoln, I think they're a better side than Gillingham are. And if I was Sheffield Wednesday fan, I'd be very disappointed. And likewise, if we don't beat Gillingham, then if we don't beat Gillingham, then I could maybe understand the argument that they feel that the season's done. But for me, it's not a chance.
Are we finishing in the playoffs? You're saying then, yes.
As of right now, yes, I still think we will.
Right, Jack.
If we don't perform in games coming up, that'll change.
You call Jack?
Yeah,
I want to try.
Jack Sparrow.
No, I think we've got a very good chance of finishing the top 6 there. I mean, Michael touched on it there. The amount of sides that are in the playoff spots now that are probably due to have a bit of a drop off. Like even Rotherham's starting to lose a few games now after being strong for such a long period of time. So I feel like there are some sides in there who are due a drop off and will probably experience one. We've got a few 6-pointers in there as well. We've got Oxford and Plymouth to play, which I know some people would say, well, that means we've got less chance of winning the game because we're playing against stronger sides. But the 6-pointers and, literally winning 1 or 2 of those games could push them out the playoff spots. You don't know. So I think we're still in a very good position to finish in the top 6. I think if we win, a decent number of games, and at the very least don't lose against Oxford and Plymouth, etc., I think we'll finish top 6. Then as for that, the playoffs is a 3-game competition, and it's a lottery.
Do you think? Sorry, just interrupt. But how many wins do you guys think we need out of our last 7 to finish in the top 6?
Probably 6.
What?
I think so.
Don't be silly.
To absolutely guarantee it.
Right. Ian Davis says Super Shrews are coming for you. That's optimism, is what I'd say. But well done.
3-0, to be fair.
Well done on your win yesterday. That was a superb result there.
And the one during the week as well. Smashed the team during the week, so they're hitting good form.
Just in time for us.
Well, maybe they're coming to get us. Terry, is our season over? Are we going to make the playoffs?
Well, clearly it's never over until it's mathematically not possible to get into the playoffs. So it's clearly not over in my mind. I put my mind to rest now. I'm resigned to being in League One.
Sorry, can I interrupt you? Are you changing your mind from what you said after the game yesterday?
No, I think in my mind, I think we're not going to make the playoffs. That's why I've resigned to the fact that we're not going to make the playoffs now, because every time we drop points, all the teams drop points, we drop points. Sure, I think it's Sheffield Wednesday's game in hand next week. It's home to Cheltenham. Can you see them really losing to Cheltenham? Chances are they won't, but it's all about ifs and buts, isn't it? So I'm like I said, there's not often I'm defeatist, but now I'm not pissed off at this moment in time. I've resigned to the fact we're in League One next season, and if they decide to prove me wrong and get the finger out and actually put shots on target and score a couple of goals and win a few games, and we do make the playoffs, I think if we did make the playoffs, we have a great opportunity to get promoted. But like
we're not going to use it.
I'm resigned to the fact that we're not going to make the playoffs, and I'm pointing out to the players now that they've got to prove me wrong and go out there and make it to the playoffs.
Right. Well, me personally, I think anybody who says that's our season over is just bonkers.
Well, Phil, I was very, as Jack knows, I was very sad enough that I actually looked at Oxford, is it Sheffield and Wycombe's fixtures for anyone who's interested. And there's quite
nobody.
A lot. Well, you might not be, but I'm a sad stato anyway. I know Thane's trying to take me spots, but still, there's a lot of teams around us playing each other in the run-ins. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, we've got 7 games left. I mean, even if it was down to no games left in Sheffield Wednesday, they've still got to win that game. But even if they do win that game in hand, we're playing Oxford and we're playing Plymouth. So that that game in hand is irrelevant. So long as we can, get. As long as we do our job.
I think Plymouth's irrelevant. I think Plymouth are going to make the top 6 now. They've got a game during the week at home to Cheltenham as well. So Cheltenham are going to play it during the week, then play at the weekend against Sheffield Wednesday. I think Plymouth have got so many points ahead of us now. I think they're going to be safely in the playoffs now.
I think you could say that the same for MK Dons, Wigan, and Rotherham. I think them 4 will all finish above us. It's down to us, Oxford, Wycombe. And is there anyone else in there as well? Those 3 teams.
Well, I mean, Ipswich
won't make it.
I still think Ipswich. I mean, you never know, but Ipswich, I think, have left themselves a bit too much to do.
Yeah, so we've got it there.
Ipswich is too far away. Ipswich is 5 points.
I think, like I say, I think the current top 4. I think they'll make up the top 4. Then I think 5th and 6th is between us, Oxford, Wednesday, and Wycombe. Given that we've got to play Oxford, that's a huge game. But like I say, I think Plymouth are already finishing there.
Just to counteract what Terry said about Plymouth, though, they've got Cheltenham, which granted on paper they should be winning. But if you look at their games after that, they've got Burton away.
But Cheltenham beat us still.
Yeah, but wait till you hear the games they've got after that. They've got to play Ipswich away, and they've got to play Oxford, and their last 4, I think, are Wycombe, Sunderland, Wigan, and MK Dons.
So we kind of want Plymouth beat Oxford, and don't we, to be fair?
Because I think we've already accepted they're going to be up there. So I think we're battling with Oxford, Wycombe and Sheffield now, aren't we, really?
I do think, I mean, if Plymouth do win on Tuesday, for example, then I think it's definitely going to be probably 5th at best. It's going to be, but to me, there's little difference between finishing, say, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And if you want to look at it, people say you want the home leg second. Well, the time in the playoffs that we had the home leg first, we actually got the final. The time we had it second, we were out of it by then. So
right, well, Pro X Jiggles says MK Dons, Plymouth, Oxford still have games against each other. Good chance to pull back. Well, I've just said that, Michael. So you don't.
Well, I know, but I was going to say it anyway.
I'm going to say something really strange here, and you're probably going to laugh. I think we've got a better chance.
Some things have a chance.
We've got a better chance, right? If we make the playoffs, of winning the playoffs, than we have of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah,
There we go.
I know what you mean.
kinda
I
get
think
what you mean,
if
yeah.
you get in there, because you've only it's a 3-game lottery, isn't it? It's like if you have a big win in that first
Alex
leg.
Neil's been there before and
Yeah.
he's done it, so he'll know how to set a team up for that sort of situation.
And-
but it's getting there first. It's going to be the difficult thing.
I think one thing about Alex Neil is that probably an advantage of him over Lee Johnson is that he tends to take things a bit more game by game. He touched on it on the
More pragmatic, isn't it?
on the Unfiltered podcast, yeah. And he said that sometimes the reason why a winning team, he might drop a player or two going into the next game, is because he's scouted how the other team plays, or he's going for a certain different tactical formation or style, whatever, to suit that specific game. Now, as much as it hasn't worked on a lot of occasions, I think that mindset is better, especially for the playoffs. It's probably going to work more in the playoffs than it will over the course of the season. I agree with you, Terry. I think
to
you're right.
counteract that, and if you look at what Lee Johnson was like, he was very much play our way, forget what everyone else does. We tried. I mean,
Which when you're really, really, really good, you can look Yeah, exactly.
So
Right, okay. Just very quickly, get back to the chat. Jag Lemons is a Wigan fan. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. So I think if Sunderland get in the playoffs, you have the big game mentality to win the lot. Lots of playoff teams playing each other, which is what we just stated. Stu Shaw says, Mad Mistake, got to disagree. We will make the playoffs, just got to score when we are dominating. We love the positivity. It's all about opinions. That's what this game's about. Just under 200 people on the stream. 53 likes. We'd like to try and get 100 if we can. On a Sunday, so you can hit the thumbs up. Take your second to do so, and it is free to do that. And if you are watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. That is free, and it will help the channel out also. What about a man of the match then? Terry?
I'll come back to me later.
I'll come back to you later.
He
he's in a mood tonight.
Jack, man of the match?
I mean, I said earlier I would give it to Patrick Roberts. I just felt as if everything that was good that we did going forward came through him. If we were going to score yesterday, it was probably going to be his assist. Almost what Pritchard it was victim to a few times, where if it was for better finishing, Roberts could have had 3 or 4 assists yesterday. Although I will give a little honourable mention to Sirkin, who I thought did everything that was asked of him defensively, as well as offered as much as he could have done. Is essentially playing as the third centre half. And a quick shout to Patterson as well. He had nothing to do all game, but then right at the very death, he made a great save. And when you've had nothing to do all game, you can lose that sharpness. But he stood up when he needed to. He was accountable. He made the save, and it probably saved us a point, really.
Sorry, I'll come back to you. Michael, man of the match?
Patrick Roberts. I think that no one actually, to be fair, had a bad game. Even Evans is someone who I've been very critical of. I mean, for Evans standards, he was all right. But I mean, even he had an all right game, to be fair.
6 out of 10 is good for Evans.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is down to standards, isn't it? But Patrick Roberts, I felt one of the things I'm a bit more encouraged by, and one of the reasons I'm more hopeful, and I believe we will make the playoffs, is because the more, and providing they don't get injured, because you know what Sunderland are like with injuries, but with Clark and Roberts, the more games that they play, the more match sharpness they'll be getting.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think for Patrick Roberts, yes, okay, someone on Twitter, I think earlier put, why was everyone saying Patrick Roberts? Why were we saying Patrick Roberts was good? He didn't score, make an assist. Yeah, but if you watch the game, then you know, for me anyway, you know that Patrick Roberts skinned his fullback every time. You could tell that like Lincoln backed off so many yards every time Roberts got the ball. And there was
Which I think made it hard for us because we were going to defence who were then backing off, and there was no gaps.
But there was a reason they were backing off because he was skinning them every time. And there was one occasion where I think 2 players in the second half, 2 players tried to close Roberts down, close the space down, and he got in between the 2 of them and ran forward into the box. Now, obviously, I think it might have been the one when Evans hit the post, but regardless, I think Roberts is really impressing me. And I'll touch on this with Roberts that if his contract's only up to the end of the season, and I think that we need to be giving him a new contract regardless of what league we're in. I know people might think, well, we might not give him a contract if we don't get promoted. I think the advantage we've got is that we could give Roberts a permanent home when he's been out on loan pretty much every 6 months of the last 2 years. So Roberts, for me, has got to be tied down to a longer contract.
You got a spare room, like?
You wouldn't want to live with Bowers, man.
You have, Phil, don't you? Terry does.
Michael.
No big on the internet.
But I think as well.
What position did Roberts play yesterday?
Right wing.
I thought he was free roaming. I thought him and Clark were given a license.
More
to kind
he was on the right wing, but he wasn't changing.
But I think Clark was on the left, Roberts was on the right. But I think they were given the license to, if it suited them, that could kind of chop and change.
It's good that they can interchange because that could confuse the opposition, couldn't it? It could keep them on their toes.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Okay.
I think as well, Robert, sorry for it feels pointless building his fitness up for the entirety of the second half of the season
Just to then lose
to get
him
them
for free,
here, to then lose him to go to somewhere else, you know.
Exactly.
Right. Well, that's the nature of the beast, though, isn't it? Terry. So we've got 2 shirts for Patrick Roberts there. So are you going to make that third?
No.
No.
He always falls over. Why does he always fall over and try and win penalties?
He is a bit
He should
flimsy.
have had a
He is a bit
penalty.
flimsy in the
Should
box.
have had
Like
a
he
penalty.
looks
He's a
so
bit
foul.
soft.
He was
That's
young
what
back.
great.
It's
Like,
soft and flimsy.
It
I
was
think.
yanked back.
I can see what you see how he's done well, and for his fitness level and for the game he's had over the season, you can take that into account. He did quite well yesterday. Now I've actually watched the game a bit better because when you're doing a live stream, you tend not to take everything that's sort of happening on the pitch. But end of the day, I thought any standout players, all players, thought as much as the muchness. I'd probably give it to Patterson for saving the day because if it wasn't for Patterson, we would have lost 1-0.
I think everyone just played okay yesterday, apart from maybe Roberts. That everyone was just all right.
Well, I thought
6, 7 out of 10.
I thought the
Yeah, I'd
overall
agree.
team performance was pretty good. Steve
Oh,
Flanders.
brilliant one shot on target. Well done, Sunderland. Absolutely amazing football
Yeah,
team.
when Lincoln barely did anything all game, but there you go.
Steve Flounders, Robert's best player on the pitch by a mile. Cirkin and Bailey Wright, very good.
What about you, Phil? Who was yours?
By like Steve Flounders says, Roberts by a mile. I thought he was head and shoulders above everybody, and I was astounded when I've heard other people saying no, he wasn't that good. But that happens. You watch a game of football and you watch the same game and you can have totally different opinions. I mean, I watched Terry's review, if you haven't checked it out yet, on his channel.
Third time.
And he was saying...
Are you getting paid commission, like?
And he was
How much
saying,
have you offered him to plug your channel?
no, don't be daft. It's part of our team, innit? So it's like,
Yeah.
Part of our TEIA.
And I was surprised when Terry, you didn't necessarily rate him and that, but then I heard other people also saying the same, and I just, for me, I think it's the best game he's played for us so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Coinciding with the fact he's getting
Saying
his
he
fitness up.
fell over and that
Yeah, right.
was, I mean, we'll get on to the penalty decisions, but he was one of the ones where it should have been a penalty should have been given.
And I know what you're saying,
for
like,
me.
sorry, I think he does. He's a bit flimsy in the box. I think he looks
He
for
looks
fouls.
for penalties though.
So, I mean,
Yeah, but he's not the only one.
I
Loads
can't-
of people have
I
done
can't
that.
remember which
I know
game
that
it
can't
was,
stand it.
I can't remember which game it was, but me and Dino were doing a watch along, and it might have been against Cheltenham. I see. Remember, he cut inside the box, and if he'd stayed on his feet, there was a shot or a cross on, and he went down. And I agree with you. He does go looking for penalties. That is just the problems of the modern day winger. I think is they prefer to go down and look for a penalty as opposed to stay on the feet as long as they can and try.
Diaku went down late on looking
Oh,
for a free kick. I mean, I agree. I think Diaku was really poor when he
I
came
think
on.
it was awful when
yeah,
it came on. And
far
to
too
be
weak,
honest,
but yeah.
I've felt it since he first played. I've never really been impressed by him at all. He had a couple of okay games at most.
But the point though was that Roberts has not been the only one to go down under slightly bit of contact. Like Diaku did.
He's not barely right.
Yeah.
Right, just very quickly then, Man Magnum says Roberts falls like a cheap suit. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Right, doesn't matter.
Awkward.
Right, okay, so
It was like when Michael tells a joke that.
couple of
not quite that awkward,
penalty
no.
decisions yesterday we should have had. Of course, had we had luck on our side, not being unlucky, we would have got them. But there's no luck in the game, is there? You're saying should we have a couple of penalties?
Phil, maybe the players were tired.
I don't know whether they were penalties, to be honest. I haven't really seen them back again. I
See what
just
you
thought
did.
they were easily. I thought they went down too easy for me, but I don't know.
I think it was three, probably
it?
3 penalties.
I can't remember Roberts going down once. I can't remember the other two.
Well,
One was Stewart.
Stewart got his shirt pulled down. That was.
I do
was
believe
kind
there's
of,
got to be more consistency from the referees. If someone gets his shirt tugged in the box, then yes, give a penalty, simple as. And that should be for all referees and all players, simple as. I mean, you kind of give it to some teams, not other teams. So there's got to be a clamp down on this 100%. But it happens in the Premier League. You see shirts getting pulled. Some teams get it, some teams don't. It's just like we need
Do you
more
think it evens
consistency.
itself out over the season, though?
Well, apparently the penalties against Wigan weren't penalties, so possibly it might have been. It might do. Well, people say on another day we wouldn't have got those penalties against Wigan. So, yeah, maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Maybe it does. Michael, penalty decisions. I know you were down there. Have you managed to watch them back? Or
That particular one, no, because the highlights package from the club didn't show the one where Ross Stewart was basically wrestled. I think it was wrestled to the ground, or
Well,
one
he had his shirt
of
pulled,
my mates basically was apparently in the bar in Sunderland, he shouted at the TV, he's not an effing climbing frame.
And what did he shout back?
No, the TV, nothing.
Oh, sorry,
nothing. Absolutely nothing. Ross Stewart's had that quite a few times.
Inanimate
When,
objects.
Ross Stewart's had that quite a few times when a lot of people have basically tried to have a wrestling match with him basically, and nothing gets given. It's not. I mean, we've had that a few times when we've tried to wrestle opposition physical strikers to whatever, and we haven't given away fouls. Again, it comes down to consistency of the referees, and it's something we've said for ages. The officials in this league, their standards have got to be better, because it's not a Sunderland thing; it's just a Sunderland thing as well. A lot of clubs could get relegated. Like, look at teams down the bottom; they could get relegated off the back of some of those decisions. It's not entirely to blame, but still, the standards got to be better.
Right, Stephen Locke says the ref was not very good. Also on there.
Not very good.
Put it mildly.
SAFC Gaza says we had an unlucky ref. The bottled decisions for the penalties. Jack, penalties, have you seen them, or what did you see when you was down there?
Obviously I was down there, and the away end I was in the front row behind the goal, which isn't always the best angle, especially for stuff happening under the pitch, and I haven't seen it back since. So, to be honest, I'm actually unaware of what it is being brought up. But one thing I will say is, and Terry's kind of waxed about this, really, but when you've had that many chances throughout the game to put the game to bed and you can't even hit the target, I don't really think you've got a right to start blaming referees. If we just done our bit, we wouldn't be sat having this conversation now, because we wouldn't be bothered.
To be fair, we probably would have, because there's been times when we've won.
Maybe, but it wouldn't have really mattered.
Pointed out it wouldn't have mattered as much, but I think there's been times when we've won the game when we pointed out how rubbish the referees are, because you're right, we should have done our job, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that the referees can't be criticised for me.
Oh, yeah, everyone's up for being criticised. I agree, but if we just done our bit, it would be less of a insignificance.
Right, okay, just very quickly back to the chat then. Marianne and Carl Taylor, our friends in Boston, Massachusetts, say we agree with Terry. Roberts not good enough, tries to do too much. We didn't deserve any pens. Again,
I kind of thought Roberts was a bit like Gooch. He just
too much.
Yeah, keeps the ball. He's big ball greedy. When you had two of them on the same side, Gooch and Roberts, none of them want to pass to each other.
I have noticed that with Roberts, he does it to hold on to it a bit long, and sometimes he tries to beat. Sometimes if there's space to one side of him, but then a few defenders on the other side, he will go with the more difficult option. But I feel like sometimes he's been starved of the ball a little bit. He hasn't been given as much possession of the ball as he would have liked. Creative players like have lots of the ball, so have lots of opportunities to do things with it. And I feel like because he hasn't been given much quality possession to create a chance or score a goal, I feel as if that's why he tries to do a bit too much, because he thinks this might be the last time he gets the last time he gets the ball for a while.
Right, fair enough. Just very quickly, 197 people on the live chat and 83 likes. If 17 people can just hit that thumbs up, that'll get us to the magic 100 figure we try to get to on a Sunday. And don't forget, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. It's free and will help us out. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do then. We'll move off the game yesterday. And I want to mention about season tickets. The season tickets have gone on sale this week. So the rumour was that the prices were going to go up, and everybody was up in arms. We were on this channel saying it was a disgrace and whatever. However, the ticket prices have actually been reduced, not by a lot, but they've been reduced. So surely that deserves a massive thank you to Stuart Donald and Charlie Mackman and
don't say that.
Why? Well, why not?
Oh, why do you
How do you know it was them? KLD might have decided to do
Well,
it.
no, because if they're the major shareholders, everybody's
Well,
going.
apparently they don't get the major share. They say apparently KLD's come out and said since we've done these videos that he has the main say. He has the one and only say at the club.
I hate talking
Tuesday
about
Hawks.
this.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, but
So why would KLD lie?
Right, but well, if that's the case, then what's the uproar about them being part of the club?
Because they're not spending money, they've got no money to spend, and they're not good enough for
they've
the club because they slag off the fans.
And they have nothing. Thing is,
Simon Pants, you know what Simon Pants said in the past? You can't take it back.
If
they take it back,
if they have the controlling share, right, which has been the big uproar on over the last few weeks and stuff like that. Surely, then when the ticket prices go down, they're not. Do they not deserve some credit for that?
No.
Why not?
Because he's an absolute twat.
All right, that's no argument. No argument.
Mr. Southampton, we can't argue.
Right,
with
on
that,
to
he
you
is.
then, Jack. Do they not deserve a little bit of credit for that then?
Yeah, I think the club deserves credit for the ticket prices. I mean, when it looks like we're high chance of playing League One football again next season, they probably couldn't have put them up too much. I think they're probably trying to give people the best opportunity they can to renew for next season, because I feel like if we are to remain in the third division next season, I think there's going to be a lot of people who this will be one season too much for them. This season, I think there was a lot of fans who renewed, arguably because of last season, the fact that he couldn't go to any games and maybe the novelty of going back to the stadium and things like that, and missing the social aspect of things. I think there's a lot of fans who went back because of that. I think next season, a lot of those fans might not renew and they'll get a bit sick of it. But no, credit. I mean, fair enough. The rumor on the street was that they were going to go up, and I know prices for a lot of things have been increasing recently, and they've kept the prices down. So good on them. I hope as many people as they can renew.
Let's face it, right? For me, they put themselves in the corner. They had no choice but to do what they've done, because there's that many people against them now and want them out of the club. They've got to try and save face somehow and somewhere by doing this. And for me, I think it'd be more for KLD forcing this forward. They clearly will be making a profit at the club. They'll still be making money at the club, whether we think they're not. That's why they can reduce the price.
The problem is, though, Terry, right, is if the prices had gone up, right, every man and his dog would have been going,
exactly.
Stuart Donald,
and
Charlie Metvan,
and how much money would they have lost in sales? Because a lot of people wouldn't have renewed the ticket, so they would have lost more sales. They probably gained more money by doing this than they will have by putting prices up and losing more sales.
It doesn't matter, right? What would have happened was, if they'd gone up, right, the Mad Rock slot would have got absolutely hammered on putting the price up. And now that the prices have gone down, nobody's going to go, oh, well, fair play to them, are they? But because it can't work both ways. You cannot slag them off, right, if the prices go up. And then, but if the prices go down, you've got to say, well, fair play. You're trying to make excuses for them. You say they've had to put them down. They've had to put them down, otherwise they wouldn't sell any. Yeah, probably right, but you don't know for
just
sure.
Trying to save face. At the end of the day, I don't believe it as Salmon Pants has any say in this. I think it's all down to KLD. I think KLD has took this off his own bat and probably decided. This is just my personal opinion. I might be wrong, but I'm going to give KLD the thanks and the credit where it's due. I'm not thanking Stuart Donald.
Well, he's not in charge.
Apparently, he said he is, so we believe what he says.
Well, it says he's got 41%. Says he's not in charge,
and he's come out and said he put in.
Well, he can say what he wants. He can say what he wants.
You call him a liar?
He's not in charge because on paper he has 41% of the club. He is not in charge.
I haven't even read anything what he said.
What did you have for your breakfast?
Well, he said he's in charge. Yeah. Well, he can say what he wants.
But
on paper, he does not own. Sorry, we'll just.
No, it's fine.
So nobody can hear what's being said.
We're all on separate microphones, I'm sure.
Yes, so everything can be heard. Everybody talking together.
Sorry, guys, if we disrupted their argument, we'll shut up now and let them continue.
Fair enough.
We'll have to agree to disagree on this one.
Well, he can say he's in charge, but on paper he's not. He's got 41% of the club.
He's got a contract saying that he has full control of what's going on in the club.
So what's been the big argument over the last few weeks then?
Because we didn't know that at the time.
Over the last few weeks, when everybody found out he only had 41%, everybody's gone mad. Because he didn't tell us at the time. We all presumed he had 60% shares. But he's not said he wanted 41% shares. So people are not happy with him for that. And they have a right to be unhappy with him for that. But for me, if he's going to be the one who's got full control, and he's come out and said then, he's trying to save face by saying he has full control of the club, Mad Jocks have no say, then why would he lie? Why would he lie? So I'm going to take his word at face value. I'm going to believe in what the guy has actually said until it's actually proven wrong. I'm going to give him credit and thanks for the reduce of ticket prices. And it's not really that much reduced because we know they're making money on Sunderland anyway. We know Mad Jocks owes Sunderland an absolute fortune still. So why should we give Mad Jocks any credit until they pay all of their money back that they actually owe something? Yeah, but it's double standards, Terry.
It's not double standards.
Of course,
my
it is.
opinion.
Well, yeah, no, it's double standards because you can say, you're saying he's in charge when the argument over the last few weeks has been the fact that he's not in charge because he's only got 41%. Anyway, moving along. We're still friends, aren't we?
We just because he's wrong and I'm right.
Just because he's a tosser and I'm not. Right, Michael.
I'm just
Michael, do Mad Rocks deserve a pat on the back for the prices going down?
Not particularly, in my opinion. I put it this way, right? Right. Well, Phil, I'll put it this way, right? They've shown what type of characters they are. Remember 2 years ago when we were pretty much right in the thick of lockdown, and they basically were willing to take 300 quid or so off people for season tickets when there was a very strong chance we weren't going to get into the grounds. So for me, the way I look at it is they've done this to make more money, as weird as that sounds. And the reason I say that is because they're probably going to be more likely to make money off, let's say,
pints and pies in the
well, yeah. But they're probably going to make. Well, let's just say just a small sample size. Say if you're talking 25 to 30,000, for example, you're much better off having 30,000 people paying a little bit less money for season tickets, but still getting them in the ground. Although I do agree with what Steve Flounder said, that I think if we don't go up, there's a good chance a number of people decided they've had enough, and I don't blame them with recent what we've had to put up with. But
I think I'll drop significantly.
I honestly think it. Well, I think we've been in this league far too long,
and I do think that is part of the reason why they have been dropped, because they're trying to give people every reason they can to get.
The ownership situation's exacerbated it, certainly. But the point is, you're better off having a good number more people renewing that are cheap, renewing cheaper season tickets than upping the price and having fewer people renewing. That's probably going to make you less money, depending on what the prices are. To be honest, I think the fact that they've lowered the prices for season tickets, I think it's about right that they do that. I think they would have had some outright nerve to charge people more when prices of things are going.
That's some very nasty things to say about.
I know there's a lot of things.
But you have nasty things to say about his son. Sorry, Michael.
Quality.
Dino deserves nasty things.
Nice one, Raymondo.
It's not quite as good as the pie, but. Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, I love them clearly, but you know what? I think they would have had a right nerve asking people to pay more money for season tickets when the prices of things are going up in general, so it's harder times economically, and B, because of the fact there's a good chance we will still be in this league next season. You're asking people to have a price raise in League One when we've been here 4 years in a row. So for me, I'm more on the side of what Terry's saying. I think they're covering their own back to a degree by doing this. We don't know who's. I mean, we don't know who the instigator is in dropping the season ticket prices. We don't know. But for me, I think
obviously the people in charge have decided that it should be dropped, and the people in charge are Stuart Donald, Juan Santori, whatever his name is, and Charlie.
Santori, you mean the person who's more interested in more interested in his politics?
Yeah.
Well, apparently something come out today that he's supposed to be getting higher up in Monaco for some, I don't know what position he's getting.
That's Satori.
Yeah.
I think one man who's going under the radar who probably had a lot more say in this, I think, is probably Steve Davison, who, as far as I know, is in charge of more or less everything but the football element of the club.
He's been heavily involved in every meeting that's...
Yeah, so I think Steve Davison is probably a name to chuck into this conversation.
So he deserves a pat on the back with Mad Rocks as well.
All I'm saying is whoever made the decision, I think, is if Steve Davison have been present in all of the meetings about it, and they'll probably had as large a say as anyone, really, because his job is to look after these.
All right, so can we all
take
agree?
Care of these things.
Right, can we all agree then?
No, we can't all agree.
Can we all agree then that the people who deserve a pat on the back are KLD, the Mad Rocks lot, and
Steve Davison.
So they all
some of them do. Not all of them.
Oh well, so
just
you
like
don't
Steve,
want to give a pat on the back to the Mad Rocks.
Just like Steve Flounder says, Philly, the day-to-day running of the club is run by KLD. The other two are shareholders who don't sit on the board and abide by the board's decision. The board's decided to put the price down for the season cards and not KLD.
The thing is, Terry, hang on. The thing is, Terry, I did see that and I was intending on not reading that out.
Anyway, Terry's clearly ruined that for you.
No, it's not. Listen, all I'm doing
is you're trying to put
all you're doing is trying to get bites out of people and cause arguments so there can be more views.
I'm not saying.
So basically, keep watching.
I'm not saying that they deserve a pat on the back, and a thanks.
Oh,
for
they
it.
don't do
Right.
they now?
Did you change your mind
No,
now?
no, I'm not. I asked the question.
No, I thought
Do they?
you said they did.
I said, did they not deserve?
Kaza, you're
Should
absolutely
they
right.
So
not?
what's
Yes.
your opinion on them, Philip?
Come
on.
on. Well, I think they still own the majority of the club. All this day-to-day running of it, who knows? Because we just don't know. We just don't know.
Just to add to a point very quickly that Jack was emphasising earlier, one of the things we have to remember is that a lot of the factors with season ticket renewals that were in Sunderland's favour last time aren't going to be the case
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Last season, when the season tickets last season initially came out, we were in a position where we looked like we were going to go up automatically. Then we obviously tailed off. People had enough of that. The second reason is, and the second more important reason is because we just had a year of lockdown, not being able to go to games, apart from the 10th. I mean, you were there at the Lincoln playoff, but that 10,000 aside, we were pretty much stuck behind closed doors watching it on a stream. And we'd got to the point where we were starting to come out, well, to a degree coming out of lockdown, and then starting to come back to the games again. And there was the buzz about being able to go to games again. Another reason, there was the buzz about, oh, this is a new direction. This is KLD. We'll look at the approach to transfers is getting a bit different. Oh, there's more hope this time. Now now those factors aren't going to be in play.
Right.
So,
Okay then. But would it not be a good idea though? You know, as a as a thank you for the prices coming down. We get some sort of flags done with the
Hold on a minute.
Charlie and
How much did they come down by?
the
Because weren't last season early bird prices cheaper anyway? So we're talking £335, right? That's what they are now before April the 14th. I bought mine last season at £360, so it's only reduced by £25. So after April the 14th, what does it go up to? What does it actually go up to?
Are you complaining that there's a reduction?
It's reduced by, I think it's, what was it last year before?
Well, I think
it couldn't have been. I mean, it was 360 last year after April the 14th or whenever it was. So what was the reduction last year?
Well, I think,
was it exactly the same as this year? So is it actually a reduction in the price? Or is it just the same? Are they just pulling the wool over your eyes saying it's cheaper before April the 14th, but after the April the 14th, it's going to be exactly the same as last season?
So what if it's cheaper before? It's cheaper.
It was cheaper last season before as well.
I think
it was cheaper last season.
I think
before.
my monthly payment has gone from, it was about 120 quid a month, every couple of months or whatever it was, and I think it's gone down to £108.
Exactly, but it was the same last season before. It was an early price before. If you bought it before a certain date, I'm sure it was cheaper last season.
Well, Phil,
I can't believe you're complaining at a reduction.
It's exactly the same as last season. They're trying to spin the words to make it sound cheaper.
I'll tell you what, before we make that assumption, what we should do is get last year's prices and get.
If somebody comes on who's bought a season card last season before the price is like the normal price, come on the chat and let me know, because I know I paid 360 last season for mine in somewhere like June or whatever it was, or July, and then it's only reduced by £25. And if it was reduced last season before that at that same moment in time, how much is it reduced actually, or is it not reduced? Are they just making this up?
Well, David Mackham says, we're going to go in up, Terry, so you won't have to argue with wee Philly next season and be back with his hometown club. Come on, the Ticks, get in. No, it is my hometown club, but I don't give a toss about them. Sun through and through me. Yeah, but should we not, as a thank you for the prices coming down, should we not get some flags for in the rope end of like Charlie Metvin and Stuart Donald, and just to wave as a little thank you?
Oh, Charlie, thank you very much for slagging off the fans in public.
No.
For being exactly the same price or reduced by £5.
Well,
Okay,
even
I'm
if
not
it's
being funny. You reduced them by a
five.
£5, but they didn't deserve flags up in the South Stand.
Well, if it's more than a £5, can we not get some flags done for them?
But it costs more than a bloody £5 for flags, isn't it?
No, I'm not saying should we not. I'm not saying you should.
Oh,
I'm
Phil,
assuming-
just shut up,
right,
man.
okay.
An absolute bollocks of a conversation. Move on.
Right.
We've been sitting about half an hour.
Yeah. Right. Ross Stewart looks like he's going to get called up for Scotland. Good thing or bad thing? Michael?
From a selfish point of view, bad thing, but for his career, good thing. He deserves it. But as you know, I think there was, for those, I suppose, if you were disappointed before that the Rotherham game was called off. And by the way, I know this sounds horrendous, that the fact that we're referring the game against Rotherham United not to be played, but unfortunately that's the situation. You know, I think I definitely wouldn't have wanted to play against Rotherham, regardless of their run of form without Ross Stewart up front. So, yeah, he deserves it. But from a selfish point of view, I'd rather he wasn't called up.
Right, just very quickly, back to the chat. Mick S is a 74-year-old Mackham and Exile, almost your age there, Terry, as well. I agree with Terry. Again, the club have messed it up. I've seen so many times in the past of this. Sorry, lads, League One next season.
The administration side of the club this year has been
atrocious.
It's been awful.
Club shop.
The way a lot of fans...
Tickets. I mean, I'm owed about 5 or 6 points, I think, throughout the season for away tickets. And you try and contact people to get them put on, and you just get told to contact someone else. And it's not even worth it.
And ultimately, that is down to penny pinching, you know.
Right, okay then. Terry, Ross Stewart, the Loch Ness Drogba, playing for Scotland. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
First thing, well done, Ross Stewart. Get your first call up for Scotland. Second thing, he'll probably just warm the bench, to be fair. So it's good to get sometimes a little breakaway like that might freshen him up a little bit, might do him the world of good. It gets have a different perspective of training and this, that, and the other. But to be honest, that'll be a little freshener for him, and he'd probably just sit there and warm the bench up. But well done anyway.
Right. Emma says they are reduced by a £5. Are you going to complain about that?
Nope. But they're still.
No. There you go.
I think
Debate
it's a
over.
fantastic saving. I was expecting them to go up myself.
Well. You go and start your flag, and then we'll go.
I don't think we should make flags to them. I asked
well,
you
let that
question.
be the end of the conversation. Ross Stewart
question.
called up for Scotland. Go on. I hate talking about the ownership of this club. But
So am I. Yeah.
Bored of it now.
Right, okay then. Karen says, Phil, I'm not letting your friends come round to play if you can't play nice. Apparently. Jack, Rod Stewart in Scotland.
Yeah, I think deserved. I mean, I'm pleased for him. I think he's earned it. It's about time. But like you say, from a selfish perspective, I just hope that he can come back and hasn't picked up a knock or anything. But yeah, I think it's been a long time coming. I think he's deserved it really, and I hope he enjoys his time representing his country.
Right, Mad Mackham on the chat says Sunderland's luck. He'll pick up an injury, even if he's just on the bench.
I can't imagine us going into like games without Ross Stewart.
Right, okay. Well, let me
won't
put
make
this
the
to you
playoffs.
then very quickly. I don't know what that means. Right, Michael touched on it about being glad that the Rotherham game was postponed because you couldn't imagine playing a game without Ross Stewart. What I want to put here is one, Ross Stewart. As his form has dipped.
No, it hasn't.
Not in the slightest. My personal opinion, his form has dipped recently to what it was. Now, is it actually a good thing not playing Rotherham next week? Because Rotherham are having a dreadful run at the moment. Their run of form is awful. But would it not have been better to have played them next week?
No,
Jack,
because would be without the player, in my opinion, who's the most important member of the squad. Ross Stewart, as much as I don't like Corey Evans, that Alex Neil clearly does, and he's out. Trey Hume, who could also be an option, is out.
Dennis Serkin,
Doyle, who is an option, is out, as well as Dennis Serkin. You've also got Broadhead and Pritchard still coming back from injuries. It doesn't look like either of them will be back in time for it. Good decision. If Rotherham didn't call it off, I would have done it. As for you, Sean, I think you think Ross Stewart's form has dipped off. I think that's very unfair to him. He himself, I know we touched on how he created loads of chances yesterday, but he himself doesn't have many chances created for him. And when he does, he always tends to score. You can probably count on two hands the amount of chances that he should have scored all season that he's missed. And what I see with Ross Stewart all the time is, apart from his scoring ability, if we didn't have him, we'd have significantly less points.
Right,
he affects the way we play.
What he does is, when we aren't in control of a game, but he's up front, he's still able to run the channels, win headers, drop in the midfield, and do all the target work to keep us in the game. I'd like to get
Michael and Terry in before we finish as well.
We'll run over a few minutes.
I know. Well, yeah, but you're not at work tonight. I am.
Oh,
all right. Just very quickly on the chat, David Jones says, how much pay do the club need to take out of the fans before we fully speaks against them? Ooh. Listen, I'm against loads of what they've done. All I've done is ask the question. The question I ask is not necessarily my opinion. So, it's like I think they've been terrible on lots of fronts, really. So that's my opinion. Terry, would it not have been a good time to play Rotherham, really, next week?
No. It would have been a good time to play Rotherham if all the players were available.
Yeah,
I agree with that, yeah.
Available. We'll have nobody on the bench, wouldn't we? Basically, we'll have nobody on the bench. And you know, like they said, we need other players back. We need Pritchard. Has been a big miss. And Broadhead will be absolutely fantastic to get back in the last few games of the season, but I think he's been ruined. But yeah, for me, we need this break. The team.
So are you criticising Alex Neil then with the Broadhead?
Yeah, that's the only one thing I have criticised.
So you want Alex Neil out then?
No, I just criticise him. I'm allowed to criticise people. People criticise me. It's the way it goes. But that's the only mistake Alex Neil's done, is that he's left him on that long for that game. And obviously, Broadhead wanted to play the game. He's obviously keen to play the game, and all the physical people out there, the physiotherapists and all the medical staff all thought he was fit enough to play. But you know, that's the only mistake for me he's made so far. But as in Ross Stewart, he's had no help at all over the last few games. You're playing one up front. You know, you're playing one up front.
He's left so isolated up top, but I feel as if he does so much, even though he is
3-5-2. How can you say 2? How is Roberts even anywhere near up front with Stewart? He's not. He's playing on the wing.
So you're criticising Alex Neil for his formation?
I think he's got no one else to play. He's got injuries. He can't do anything different. I mean, who else do we play? Do we play 4-4-2 and play Defoe and Stewart up front? It's probably not Neil's way of playing football, no, but...
So you don't think Lee Johnson should have been sacked then? Because we were 2 points off top, weren't we? Looking. Really
I said at the time,
patience,
Lee Johnson at the end of the season, but it wasn't a manager I wanted in the first place.
So we sacked Lee Johnson. Now you want Alex Neil sacked as well. It's just a merry-go-round, isn't it?
I do not want Alex Neil sacked.
Right, okay. Right, Michael, quickly then, because we are
like Michael.
Do you want to ask him all just stupid questions if you want to be quick then?
Don't put the words in your mouth.
Right, okay. Rotherham, you don't think it was a good time to play them then?
I agree with Terry, and then he said that it would have been a good time had everyone been fit. But again, like Jack said, you know, you're out without Ross Stewart, who I think is one of the top goal scorers, if not the top goal scorer in the league. And aside from that, yes, his form a little bit has dipped in terms of goal scoring, but a little bit. But he's still.
He only had one chance yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's fair enough. But what I was going to say was, that aside, you know, he got pretty much the match-winning assist against Crewe. He offers a lot in terms of like holding the ball up, getting others into play, being a focal point. The only one thing that I would say with Ross Stewart, Jack, you might think I'm being a bit harsh here, but the one thing I would say is that sometimes, not all, but sometimes, I'd like to see him win a few more headers, but it might be that a lot of centre-backs are towering above him and targeting him all the time. So maybe I'm being harsh.
I feel like we don't target the ball towards him, we kind of lump it up.
Well, yeah,
expect it to.
But either way, you know, would you rather play? The point is, would you rather play Rotherham with Ross Stewart or without him? I know which one.
I would argue it's pointless to play Rotherham without Ross Stewart.
Exactly. He affects the way we play so much. Like even if say, as much as I rate Nathan Broadhead, if you stuck him up front on his own, it's not the same.
He needs support. He plays around him. Stewart,
yeah, exactly.
I honestly think Stewart hasn't had a bad game all season. Yeah. There's probably not been a game all season where he's had less than a 6 out of 10.
You can certainly count on one hand.
Right,
you look about him, he does something with it.
And the point, sorry, I will. Well,
it's all right. I'll lose my job.
You spent a lot of time arguing with Terry, so you know. The point is that, you know, when we play Rotherham last week of the season, either they'll be already promoted potentially, or if this run of form continues, what if they drop out of the top 2? Their morale's going to be much worse then than it is now.
Yeah, so but their will to win, if they need a point to get automatic promotion.
Yeah, but
you know, then they're going to play out the skin.
What about our
SAFC Gaza on the live chatting? Harsh Stewart player of the season. 100%. I agree.
Without a doubt, Stewart head and shoulders player of the season.
I thought you said Stewart wasn't good enough.
I didn't say that.
You not say he was?
No, I said his form. I said his form has dipped to what it was.
I thought you said he was very poor the last
anyway,
even if you're saying that Stewart's form's dipped a little bit, it's only because the standard that he's had is so high that even a bit of a dip will be a bit noticeable. But come on, yeah, he has been player of the season.
Right.
At the end of the day,
if the rest of the team was playing better, you wouldn't be able to notice anything because he'd be scoring goals.
Listen,
Phil, calm down.
Not only do I have to go to work, my tea's ready as well.
Stop asking all the stupid questions.
I've got to have a bath and a shave.
When we play Rotherham near the end of the season, Pritchard could be involved, Broadhead could be involved, and Stewart could be involved. There you go.
Beans on toast, thank you.
All right. The one thing is, just very quickly, back to the season tickets. The one guarantee is...
so it's not when we're talking, we've not got enough time, but you want to go and bring more topics up.
It's like Salmon Pants is a control freak.
Says one thing and does another.
The one thing about the season tickets...
Come on, Phil, your tea's ready. You got a job.
Cheap.
Got it later on.
I'm not even going to do it. Was
Check
it-
if he's wearing
I
red
don't
trousers.
know.
What is he wearing red trousers under there? He's not my son. He's not wearing his red trousers.
Rumour has it he likes
Oh my
to
God.
be in the away end with a pipe in his hand and he likes to go and say hello to everyone.
Right, so-
Although he hasn't got the big black bouncy hat to go with it.
He's bought a wig though, and he's like twin.
Right, okay, very quickly, just before we go, don't forget, of course, if you're going down to Morecambe for the last game of the season, where we're probably
Well,
going to
hopefully it's
need
not the last game.
points to get in the playoffs. Get yourself down there. It's a 12:30 kickoff down in Morecambe. And come and see us before we're in Johnny's Bar on the seafront. 30th of April. We'll be on stage from 11:15. And better still, after the game, win or lose, we're on the booze. Come and join us after the match for a big party in Johnny's. It's free to get in, doesn't cost you a penny. In you go, drink as much as you can, and we'll come and have a sing-song in Johnny's.
So you need to have a good drink.
I
and
want to
enjoy
say
your shows.
photo shop's amazing, isn't
Or
it?
watch
Photo
Sunderland.
shop's amazing.
What's about that, like?
Taking about a stone off you, isn't it?
No, that's
I think a before and after photograph.
Is
isn't
that,
it?
is that Photoshop?
Hey, yeah, that's exactly the same, isn't it?
All right, then. Right,
Come on, I
okay.
thought you needed to finish for your tea.
I know, I've got to go. Terry said bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Enjoy your week.
Jack said bye.
Thank you to everyone for watching. I hope you've really enjoyed the show. Please remember to like and subscribe and like that. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Michael said
Bye-bye.
bye.
Any show where Phil and Terry argue like a married couple's hilarious.
Right,
Keep
fair enough.
talking.
Please remember to like and subscribe to the video, please, if you would. And don't forget, if you are a member of the channel, check out your name. It's in the credits at the end. We'll see you all. And we just want to say,
Mezcal.
Mezcal.